Barber College Success, brought to you by Craig Charles of Crown Cutz Academy, JC, Crown Cutz Academy, Bristol, Virginia, and now Proficient Nail Academy in downtown Johnson City. Spreading love is the Tri-City way, but hold up. Spreading love, the only way is through the Crown Cutz way. Today we got a banging episode. We took a week off, but guess what? I'm going to introduce my co-host, Miami Vice. We got Tubbs and what's up, guys?
I ain't even watching for my time.
But you got Jay over here in the Miami Vice swag. But anyway,
Jordan
introduce
Bar
myself.
for Bristol, Tennessee. J Bob on Instagram.
That looks comfortable. It's
It
close.
is very comfortable.
Ammi Fields, Am I Your Barber, Marion, Virginia.
Yes, sir. And my guy himself, we got a special guest coming in from all the way from. Introduce yourself and tell them where you from, my guy.
Hi, everybody doing? My name is Jonathan Romero. I'm a man that made a nickname, so y'all can just call me Jonathan. I am from Prince George's County, Maryland, in the D.C. area. I spent all my life in Maryland, all the way from PG and D.C. all the way to Baltimore and back.
But guess what? Once you're a barber, you're a barber. And barbers connect, and that's what this show is about: connecting barbers from across the country, across the world, and across the state. Today, we're going to just continue our series and just talk about barber stories. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people, they always hit me up like, man, how can I, how always asking questions about these barber stories, because it's interesting when you start hearing people's stories and they start talking about how they started, how they connected, how they got into this wonderful industry. And this industry is so great. And I have two of my good friends here on this, one of my best friends, two of my good friends on this episode with me as my co-host. And what do you guys think, man, about this? Just think about the barbering overall.
I mean, it just keeps taking me places that I wouldn't even imagine. Like just being here, cutting hair is nothing. Like if you'd ask me at 18 and say, "Yo, you're gonna be a barber," I'm like, "She's tripping."
Right.
I'm gonna go be an astronaut or something, you know. But now to see where I'm at, it's like everything is just icing on the cake because I never expected this for myself.
You could have been anything. You could have been a hot and cold water engineer.
Yeah, I could have been.
You know what that is?
Could have been an underwater welder. No,
A hot and cold water engineer.
Hot and cold engineer.
I ain't never heard of that.
I know. And one time, a quick joke. My homie was he was talking about, he was describing his job, right? And he said he was a hot and cold water engineer. And my other guy said, "Man, you just a dishwasher."
You gotta put this how you say it, right?
Yeah,
it's not what it is.
How you say it,
it.
but it just sounds so good. I was like, yeah, that sounds, yeah, you're a professional. You're a hot and cold water engineer. That's what you're doing.
I'm the sanitation manager of a restaurant. That's what I was.
Hey, I mean, that's good as long as you got a job.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, it's all about having some type of something that makes you happy. And for us, it's barbering. Barbering makes us happy.
Yeah, I'm blessed, man. I still haven't even repped everything that this industry can give. So I'm just now taking off, and I feel like I'm just starting to dive in, like for real. I've only been in it for 2 years, going on 3. So I still feel like I got a lot I gotta learn. There's a lot I gotta take in. So
When did you graduate, Jordan?
what, barber school?
Yeah.
December of 2020.
Okay.
Or it's either December 2020 or 21.
You
That'd be
don't-
21.
I think it's 21. Yeah.
You don't know, man?
It ain't been
What?
that long. It ain't been that long.
I just say it ain't been. Okay, 21. Yeah, it'd be right.
21, 22, 23. Yeah, that's about right. That's when you hit your peak.
21.
That's what's up. But my guy, let me let you jump in, man. So, have you checked out any episodes at all, Jay?
Not quite. I ain't given access to any of them yet.
Okay, good. Well, you're gonna jump on this one. This is gonna be your first one. You're gonna have to look back at this one and see what you think. But introduce it. Just talk about it. So talk about how we met and how the connection just instantly came on. Because once you're a barber and you see a barber, you just automatically just click, and we've just been vibing ever since.
Yeah, so we met at the Black Wall Street Festival that was going on in East North Carolina and Asheville.
Western North Carolina.
Oh, West North Carolina, my bad. Yeah, Western North Carolina, and I act as the vice president of the Black Wall Street Bowie State University chapter organization. So a little bit more background. I'm currently in graduate school for counseling psychology, and while I was at Black Wall Street representing the organization, I was also looking to further my business that I'm working on. as basically a owner of a barbershop as so I have an idea about a barbershop as a council center as well. So while I was talking about it to one of the hosts there, he said, "Hey, go talk to that guy over there." Now, he said that he's representing an organization, and the organization he was talking about was Confess Project. And I heard about Confess Project when I started thinking about the idea I had, and it was like running into him was just like, you know, it's no other way that God didn't intercede, but that the time and space for us to meet, and we just held off from there.
No doubt, no doubt. And like I said, but the connection of being a barber, when you meet someone who's a barber and you like, you have that same vibe and you meet them for the first time, you can just talk. It just brings like a joy to your face, like a happiness. Like when you talk about Jordan going to the hair shows and you connected with brothers, or when you talk, am I, about just meeting with the people that you've met. I know you could echo the same sentiment about just meeting someone for the first time who's in this industry. It just gives you like a certain high, like, yeah, our industry is valid and we can connect. This is a fraternity that just can go and go forever.
And I feel that way about everybody that meets in the industry. And that's really cool. Whether you're new or been at it for 25, 30 years, that's that natural connection. Like, the struggle investment that goes into it. So you can immediately connect with people. And then, you hear the ideas that he has, taking it to the next level, with the psychology and the shop, and then hopefully charging insurances. So take it to the next level. That's super cool. So
And that's the thing why I like bringing people on the show just to talk about the different opportunities that you can connect and you can bridge the gap with barbering. Because instantly when you told me about what you're doing with the clinical psychology side of it and with the Confess Project with the mental health part, I'm like, man, barbering has come so much. And a lot of people, when their kids say sometimes, I want to be a barber, people kind of frown upon it, be like, man, you just a barber? But we can bridge the gap in so many different ways and find out how the human mind works, how to put people in better situations to help themselves. And it's through the tool of that we have in our hands of cutting hair and just building a bond and vibing. And I know you talked about you've done some research papers on this whole situation about the communities and the barbering and why it's so important for people to connect with people. And I want you to start there and talk about that, Jay.
Barbershops is an institution. It's a place where people gather and they congregate and you talk. One of the things that I'm looking into is how people and how we mirror basically primates when they do bonding. They bond through grooming. That's what they do. They sit around, they groom, they pick each other hair and things like that, and that's how they do their kinship and things like that out of many ways. So I'm looking to see how that relates to us and how when we get together in these social areas and settings, how those positive things reflect how necessary barbershops and barbering is, and then adding on the mental health component with that, with us as black men not being able to even receive as much mental health attention. I learned that 4% of psychologists around the world is black, and even less are men. So there's a disparity in regards to how much attention we get when it comes to emotions and conflict resolution and things like that. But we're in the barbershop and things like that. That's one of the things it kind of comes with the environment where basically men sit around and they share those wisdoms and sharing how to navigate situations and stuff, and usually in a healthy way. So that's kind of where I'm at with it, with looking to my research and seeing how I can make this great institution as the barbershop something that helps not only build but repair our communities everywhere.
And that's valuable because for a long time we've been given so much help in our community. We didn't realize we was helping our community, but now on a scientific level, we know what we really giving help to and who really needs the help more, that's just a game changer.
I had an image in my head of me shaving an afro and picking something out of a head, eat it like apes used to do. Apes would be doing that. For some reason, that image jumped in my head when I thought about it. Just like, oh, eat that.
I mean, but that's but you're right though. You eating information and someone else is regurgitating the information. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So and
Like
that's
like
what you
cleaning
talk
that
about.
coat. Our hair got that sheen, that coating that primates do when they sitting around like the mothers and children, and I guess fathers maybe as well.
But you take it back to the Bible, how they talk about the coat, your hair is that's where your strength, your wisdom come from, all that extra, all that above. So it has to have some direct correlation with how someone is their hands is directly on top of your head, the crown of your body, the jewel of your body, and then you cutting their hair. And over time you can't help but build a bond. But now statistics are showing that it's real. Statistics are showing that it's real. So what are some more of the interesting statistics that you came up with through your research that you found out, Jay?
Let me see. Let me look through something. So some of my research that I had got was from working at the hospital. Really, um, hospitalizations. A lot of my research is emphasized on mood disorders and substance abuse. And mood disorders is one of the most common mental health reasons for ER visits. So, we deal with people who have attitude issues, don't know how to control their anger, or someone who get irritated real quick and things like that, or people who don't know how to deal and cope with things. So many people who visit the hospital with mental health disorders are suffering from either mood disorders or with schizophrenia, which is another thing that I'm kind of taking interest in. But I don't really have too much information on. But these these top reasons that people are admitted into the emergency room is major depressive disorder, neurocognitive issues, anxiety, substance-related issues, and schizophrenia spectrum disorders. And some of these, I really strongly feel like some of these it's early intervention that can happen within communities and places like the barbershop where people talk about what's going on and how to cope, and those things can be just learned through social learning.
But it's interesting because when most people sit in your chair, right, whether they have any type of ailments, any type of anxiety, any type of disorder, for some reason that just kind of calms down because the focus is on their hair, and then I don't know if the sound of the clippers, but typically you have a good dialogue, you have a good transaction between client and customer when they sit down in the chair because I don't know. I know what a hair could make someone feel like and how they when they get up, their whole mindset. And during that hour and 15, 45 to hour and 15 minutes, it seemed like it's just an oasis where people just like come together and bond. I mean, I know we can talk about that. What do you think about that?
I can see why. Because there's a lot of people obviously that come to the barbershop just to express themselves or tell get like what's off their chest. Like you'd be surprised. Like you might be somebody you ain't never cut before. It'd be your first time cutting their hair, and they dropping the beans on you like stuff that you would think that would be personal to them, and it's
Right.
like, dang, they don't mind have that outlet outside of the barbershop or somebody to talk to. So it's like,
That literally just happened to me like the other day, this past week. Never cut this guy's hair before, and he just opened up his own business. I've never spoken to this dude before, and he just started dropping it on me. Like first time I cut his hair, he's like, "Man, I'm so sorry to tell you about all this, blah blah blah." But I could tell he had to get it off his chest, and it's really bothering him. It's the first time I ever cut his hair. I also have a young kid that comes into my shop, and I think he's maybe schizophrenic. He's manic, maybe some bipolarism there. And he comes in, man, and he just wants to talk. And as soon as he come in off the street, and I know he's tripping sometimes, and it's probably not his fault. 9 times out of 10, it's not his fault. He's just not medicated properly or hasn't been diagnosed. And he comes in off the street, and he's like, man, this feels good. Like he'll just stand in the shop. He's like, man, this I don't even cut his hair. He just walks in the shop. He's like, man, this feels good. I feel safe here. So I just try to talk to him, talk him down or whatever, because you don't know what he's going through in his mind, like what he's dealing with. So if he leaves and feels better by himself, then I'm helping him out.
But think about it. That's where the statistic backs up how valid we are.
Mm-hmm.
That's where statistics back up and show that, man, And I hope that all this research that's being done, we can even take this to another level. You know what I mean? We could take this to another level where we could almost give like barbers, and because over time of just sitting in that chair 5, 10 years cutting hair, you become equipped with certain skills that and develop certain skills that you don't even know you have.
Some soft skills. Soft skills are very slept on. Soft skills, those people skills and things like that. You develop a lot of that when you're dealing with people, and you're dealing with how they look, and you're dealing with you know them just kind of like pouring into you. You do the you get soft skills from working with a team, a group of people. You grow in the fellowship and things like that. Negotiating and things like that as well. You get a lot from barbering. My experience over the 8 years, it really made me a better well-rounded person than I would have been if I never got into it.
You know what I'm saying? And that's skills that people don't realize that you form from being a barber. You know what I mean? And you could go to school for it. You could do some research, but those skills, I wonder what kind of research that we can do to add to that to show that, hey, we have something special. Barbers are some special people that acquire certain soft skills and certain other skills just from cutting hair and just being having that human interaction that you develop, that's just helping people across your community, across the country, across the world. And just because you said the guy sits down, and when he sits down he said he feels safe, but he has all his episodes after he leaves the shop.
That's not even for a haircut. He just walks in the building. Like I don't even cut the dude's hair. He just being present in the building gives him that peace.
So there's something to say about that. You know what I mean? That what we're doing to help people, it's almost like walking into like a planetarium or something. You know, where people have you're around the plants, you're around the ocean. You know, they say when you take your shoes off and you walk in the dirt, you get grounded, or you just touch a tree, or you just go to the ocean and watch
So
water, you get grounded.
so there's this phenomenon that I studied when I was studying behavioral pharmacology called place preference conditioning, where your environment can indeed condition how you feel and stuff, especially if you're like on substances and stuff like that. It talks about how when people return to certain areas and stuff like that, they get some type of, lack of better terms, feeling. And it goes more into drug overdosing and things like that. But I think there's a strong relationship between the environment of a barbershop and how people react, and how it invokes certain thoughts and feelings and such.
And that's major. And for years, the barbershops has been around. You know what I mean? For years, and I'm so happy that now we are connecting with the research. And I know with the Confess Project has done some research with Harvard Medical School up in Boston, and just things like that is showing that, hey, we are essential. So it's important to understand when you go through this journey of getting your license to become a licensed professional, it becomes more than just cutting hair. And we said all
Yeah.
the time, it's more than just a haircut.
Yeah, and it's weird to think. I mean, I really sat down and think about it because I worked in the mental health field for probably 4 years before I transitioned into barbering. So like I was just taking the skills I was already using and then putting it into cutting hair, and it already became a reflex for me. But on the outside looking in, like to think about a job where people just come to you and they just sit down. They don't have to, they don't have to be drunk or high or nothing, just to come in and just share what they're going through and feel comfortable enough to tell somebody, to confide in you, to say, "Hey, Jordan, man, this is what's going on. My dad, my mom, blah blah blah." Like it's so essential now because COVID really shut people down. We were already very shut down
We're
people.
living in a loneliness epidemic,
Oh
which
yeah.
is very interesting.
Mhm.
How it threw off people's social connections and sense of belonging. And some people, it's people out here who needs to be around people. Some people have that personality; they need to be around 3 or 4 or 5 people. We have people who are introverts who was like, thank God I get to be by myself for some
Yeah,
time and
Right.
just like get
which is
into the
most
echo
barbers, I
chamber and
think.
stuff like that. But there's some people who is not, they necessarily thrive off necessarily like a chaotic environment, but they have to be around the ongoings of people. They need to be basically busy or around people, and how that just threw a lot of people off from their natural, like their habits. We're creatures of habit. So if you knock a person off their habits, especially if it comes to like to something that regards to socializing, which we are social creatures, the effects they show for themselves. They're profound. People start getting imbalanced in ways, and we don't know how to necessarily handle it. So I think that's where barbering come in again, where it kind of we have the potential of kind of balancing people and things out by the conversations we have, or the events that we host, and the conversations that we start and we share that leaves the barbershop.
So, like, Emma, a thought just went through my mind. What if barbering get extinct how it used to be? Because you know how a lot of people are really wanting to go towards the suites and individualize themselves.
Mhm.
If that happens, the essence of a barbershop could really be extinct.
And it's wild to think about because a lot of people, their only social interaction is going to a salon or a barbershop outside of work, and we need that. If we was to lose that, the quality of life might go down. Especially now after COVID, post COVID years, we all we got really. If it wasn't for us, people wouldn't meet people. And really, the internet really blew up during COVID. Social interaction became a like on Facebook or Instagram. It totally changed the dynamic of life.
I'm a little indifferent about it. I'm a little indifferent about it because I don't think that barber suites is going to eradicate barbershops as we know it. I think people will still going to frequent it, but it's still amount of people who comes in who don't talk to people, who really don't want to, they want to get their
Right.
haircut and go, who actually will prefer that privacy and things like that, and maybe able to even pay a premium for people to not, be on their face.
Well, when I say kind of go extinct, I like the idea of suites too. I it's something about growing with a group.
Yeah.
In
Yes.
essence, when you by yourself, certain things you can't grow with other people with, because one of the
It can make you
benefits of
socially awkward.
yes,
You can miss certain nuances. You could get. I feel like we are not only
that's
creatures
the
of
part I'm
habit.
talking about. That's the part I'm talking about.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. That socializing is important. I think that I really think suites should be more so for people who are like way more experienced and stuff like that, who are
I
able to
agree.
have a control or command over their environment. Everybody don't have that.
Right. And I was thinking about that the other day too. I mean, again, I'm not against sweets. I am for it because I think to be in a suite, you have to probably work around other barbers for 3 to 4 or 5 years. And then if it's for you, you individualize, you know how to carry a conversation, how to be able to reach people and connect.
How
Yes.
to fix a haircut in case you mess up because you in there by yourself. You flying the plane by yourself.
Right. Exactly. Because I remember one time just being in a barbershop working with other barbers. I learned so much by watching other barbers' techniques. And I learned from them some of the things I couldn't get done. And I'm like, you know what? How did he get this length right here? And he's like, he just started with the one guard. Little simple things like that you can just pick up from across the room that you might be sitting there by yourself doing for a long time. You could not get this haircut or the hair to lay the way you want it.
And
But there's
here's
another
another one. I don't always like to like refer and compare us to like necessarily primates, but it's this thing called the 100 monkey theory, right? Where they had conducted an experiment where they had uh, monkeys on two different islands with coconuts. And they had these coconuts deliberately put into the sand, and they had to figure out how they was going to eat and stuff like that. So as I'm trying to remember everything, the way it happened, they took some of these coconuts. Actually, no, they didn't. I forgot how it went. I'm trying to remember everything how it went. But
Take
they
time.
had these coconuts that was in the sand, and the monkeys they went into the water and started washing the coconuts. So one started doing it, another one started doing it, and that it became a thing. Some social learning. They learned from each other about how to do something, and now there's a new habit, a new technique. But
right,
then they saw that was happening on another island. I think that's how it went. It was kind
right.
of like an accidentally unrelated thing. How we pick up things and then it just like it travels like slang, like certain words, certain styles and stuff like that. And it used to be, and I remember this, it used to be regions where certain styles only traveled so far.
Right.
And a person would leave and go somewhere else. Now that style comes from here to a whole nother place. I come from New York to North Carolina, or North Carolina to California, stuff like that, and how we adopt
It
certain
transcends
things.
and travel.
Yeah. The,
Now, if you're
so
Jordan, Miami to Tennessee, you got some Miami swag on.
I picked up like the way I dress is kind of like how people in California dress. So I like the way that people in California dress. So I feel like everybody looks at me different
So
because I
I
don't dress
think
like the regular people.
styles, just like ideas, just like social cues and stuff, they travel in a way where we don't readily understand. But that is why it's important that we do have these institutions like Barber and stuff like that, so they could, they need a medium and things like that. I think Barber is the perfect medium for people to learn, whether it's barbering skills, social skills, things about just being a better person, not just a man, but a woman, or learn from older people and stuff like that. It's a lot that there's so many benefits. I'm still thinking about that even come from,
And why
just
I'm proud of all this research that's being done, and all these analytics and statistics and facts and data about the industry, excuse me, why I'm so proud is because all that is just going to solidify and put a magnify our industry and solidify what we know as a career once we in it. And I think sometimes one of the questions people always ask before they even get into the industry, or just like a vague conversation, is like, do barbers make money? And when you tell them the bread that you're making and the salary that you have, it almost like throws people for a loop.
Yeah. I
I
had
don't
a
know why
guy.
they think barbers be broke, man. Like when I was young, I'm gonna tell you, I was young. My first job was at a barber shop, like 13, 14. Only reason I made me really go in there because everybody was fresh. And I saw the money that they had. I didn't quite understand
The
the
fly
struggle, how long it
sneakers.
took to get there. But I always had hustler and barber synonymous with each other. I don't get how people don't think barbers be having. I just don't get it.
I had a guy come in the other day and I cut his hair and he asked me how much I made, which is fine. I don't care to share with people. And I told him, he's like, oh. And it was, and I guess people just don't think.
So,
He
said,
said
"Oh,
he did. That's the reaction. I'm not in front. He was like, oh,
like Black Rob."
yeah.
Whoa.
He's like, oh, it was just was so cat. But and I think it kind of tore him up a little bit. But he made his appointment right after that, so I ain't complaining. And but back to suite. So I just thought about it. I'm technically in a suite because right now I own a shop, but I don't have any employees yet.
Right.
So technically, I'm in a suite. And one thing that being in a suite, one of the pros of being in a suite is I have learned to speak to people better.
Right.
Because if you ain't speaking to them, ain't nobody saying nothing.
For
Because
sure.
just sitting there in silence. But but there's also a negative to that because when you have a barber shop with multiple people in it, sometimes you ain't got to say nothing. Sometimes somebody else is speaking, and you can and you can just kind of focus on what you're doing, and that feels
Eavesdrop.
good sometimes.
Just eavesdrop.
Yeah,
And that's why I was glad that I started out going from a school to a barbershop because I was really bad at not being able to start conversations. But being in the barbershop for those 2 years, it kind of helped me develop into creating conversations. So now I'm about to be in a suite, I can feel more comfortable starting conversations.
So
you're
that's
gonna have to because y'all just
Yeah.
be sitting there with crickets going.
but that's a gem right there. That's a earn the crown moment right there, because a lot of people, students, and again, this podcast is for students in school to kind of elevate your thinking and your thought process. A lot of students in school, they struggle and not practice and don't practice how to have a dialogue with clients. And that's one of the key things. You have to be able to communication is in the first three chapters, and it's in the first three chapters of the textbook for a reason.
I think there's a few things that causes barbers to have the reputation that they have. I think one of the things is I think people's experience with the struggling barber, the barber who's first coming up, and they see probably the barber in the first chair. They probably have a
In
cousin
the
or
first
someone who
chair.
actually started barber, and they're like, "Hey, yo, you got to get it together, B. Rent dude, you only come 4 days a week. Come on, yo." Like people have probably had that experience with the person who just started, or they seen they start and they kind of suck and they just like, ooh, I don't know, you
But
know.
but but there's a direct correlation with that first chair and the people who struggle. And as instructors, we see it. And because there's the direct correlation with the students who come out and they don't struggle.
Yeah. I mean, it's, the ones that are going to be successful and the ones that aren't going to be successful early on, at least early on. Not to say people can't turn
No,
around.
you turn it around.
You can turn it around. I
Yeah.
mean, and then being around, brothers in the shop, that's one thing about, you shouldn't go from school. I don't think you should go from school to suite. That shouldn't happen because
Right.
there's
School
so
to a
much you need to
suite.
learn. No way. Not, I don't think you should do that at all because
You
number
need
one,
people around you.
You
yeah.
do to kind of hold you accountable, to correct your mistakes, so you can ask questions. Someone to mentor you, someone to kind of treat you the way of a master barber, how to be a master barber.
Or even if they don't do any of that for you, you at least have a visual representation of what you need to be doing because you can
I
tell who's
think
doing it.
I think barbers, just like when you go, so I'm like I said, I'm under my master's in counseling psychology. One of the things I'm learning is I have to get continual education hours. And
Right.
I think there's some barbers out here who need some continual education hours.
Some,
I being one of the ones who did need it. Continual
some.
education hours is important.
It's a must. It's a must. That's something that you have to do
Let me try to
because
adjust my life real quick. Give me one
no,
second.
you good. That's something that you have to do. You should do. I mean, and you have that textbook for a reason. And if you have that textbook and you're not going into that textbook and following up, and where you're having a problem and not trying to go back and see how to fix it, I mean, everything is in that textbook.
You need
Everything
to
is in
keep the
that.
book.
Yes, everything's in the
You
textbook
need
to
to
help
keep
you
the
be
book.
successful.
Some states require continuing education with a license. I think North Carolina you have to, right? You have to have so many hours of continuing education just to hold a license.
Yeah, and then you know what I'm saying? You want to hold yourself accountable. You want to get better. You want to get a raise. You want to do certain things, but and if you're not careful, that first chair stigma can last on you for a long time. You know what I mean? So if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you be that barber in that first chair, people come and be like, man, what's going on with you, dude?
There's another thing to have to consider too is that people's personality type. Some people want or urge should be independent.
Hmm.
Some people who come in overconfident and things like that. And it's those things like that I kind of do make and break a barber. I had it where I how can I say it? I really didn't. Um, it's not that I didn't like being corrected, but I didn't like it where someone felt like they had to step in.
It
You
depends
know,
on how they did it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you was like pull me to the side after the cut, but if you're during the cut, like, yo, there's a line in your cut. Like, come on, man. Like that's
yeah,
not how you
like
do
it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's like you trying to go talk to a girl and your friend, like at the end, you're like, yeah, like come on, man, we need all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, fall back,
It,
It's
fall
how
back.
it's how you do it.
I'm like,
yeah,
damn, man, you just
it's
growing
how
it.
you do it. Because
Right.
nobody, I look at it like this at this point in my life. Nobody is beyond reproach.
No.
Everybody could stand to improve in one way or another, especially if you're coming in, you new. It also take getting to know people at the same time too, to actually know how to approach people. Because sometimes people could try their best to come at you the best way they can, and another person
You're
just
just
be
not
like,
receptive.
"Yo, get out my face,"
Right.
you know.
That's another thing too. Like if you're a new barber, like if I bring a client, and one thing used to irk me was like I bring a client in, and I know this person is a very reserved person, and then other barbers would try to crack on him. I'm like, this dude just got here. Like y'all don't know anything about him. You can't just be talking to him how you want to talk to him. That was one thing that used to get on my nerves. Like
Saying that, knowing what we're saying and saying that, how do we get students to prepare better when they first start? What are things that they need to look after? What is going to help them better themselves to be in a better position when they leave school?
make them greet everybody that comes to the door.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a
Social
new barber,
skills.
yeah,
We need social skills at a high degree because we're dealing with the public, and we dealing with each other at the same time too. So we have to learn how to group dynamics, things like that, customer service and stuff like that, professionalism. Everybody sleep on professionalism. It's very important to know how to talk and address please, thank you, and things like that. A lot of people, they kind of, especially if you're from the hood, you know what I mean?
I,
You're
I
just like,
think
$35.
I
All right,
think
yo,
I
hit me.
seen
And
I
then,
saw the statistic the other day, and it says very few people come to the barber shop wanting that everything on point, edgy, straight, and who just a stickler with the haircut, who just look in the mirror a million times and try to adjust it to make the hairline or the haircut straight. After a while, very few people come for that. People come.
I hear so. I hear so many people I hear so many times people just say, like sometimes they just say yeah and just leave. They like it's
I don't.
heavily disrespectful. And it's like
I
if
don't
you
need
ain't
the
like it,
mirror.
you could have just. But people don't always come for that though.
Right.
So
They come for the conversation. They come for the vibe. They come to feel comfortable. They come to have a good conversation. They come to have like an opportunity just to connect and be respected. They come for the perception that when they set their appointment that they're going to be on time, you're going to be on time, and they want to just come in and leave in a timely fashion and have just a normal business transaction and just say, hey, thank you. You know what I mean? So most people just want that normal transaction. They just want to connect on a communication level and also just sometimes just to let the hair down and just to hear another good conversation.
But I feel like
because
there's
my bad. Let me just like real quick. Let me
yeah,
just
you
like
good.
real quick. 'Cause I'm gonna tell you, as a person, when I first started, I noticed people would stick with you. I'm saying for new barbers, like people will stick with you even if they know you're not the best, just for the experience. They'll stick with you even though they know they cut suck. You know,
That's why my clients with me.
No,
I said that's what I was saying. Like it's
you
like when I was
fire, you
in
fire him.
I
You
just
doing
yeah,
got
it.
Emma's fire. Em, he knows he's fire. Uh, that's what I was saying when I was in barber school. I had that that feeling that I always wanted to have the most perfect haircut every single time instead of really trying to develop my people skills. Which I don't think that's really my fault. I think that's from me watching too much Instagram.
It's another gem.
So me, I'm over here scrolling on Instagram. I'm like, man, I want my blends to look like that, but they ain't showing all the other stuff that they probably are lacking or that they are doing. So in my mind, I'm like, in order for me to be like that, I gotta have a perfect fade. Or in order to be like him, I gotta have a perfect fade. Or like my tops, my shears gotta be like that. And I really didn't understand that until after I graduated and got into a shop that most people really don't care about the blurry fade. Which I mean, I'm just
They
I'm
want a
just
decent haircut. They want a good
yeah.
haircut.
I mean,
they
but
don't they don't care how new your technology is. You can be using
yeah.
something from 10, 15 years ago. Does it
Yeah,
work? That's all they care about.
yeah. As
But
long
I'm just a perfectionist. I just want everything to be perfect. That's just me. I want to be a perfect barber. I want to be nice at fading. I want to be nice at everything. But it's just I guess it's how you want to be
but
portrayed to
is
yourself.
that more like like an individual thing, like so people can say me, or is that like a competitive edge where
I think it's a competitive edge. I like being competitive. That's just me. That's for me at least. But
The other side of what you said was interesting. We talking about comparison on social media. There are studies that social comparison. There's a negative correlation between something, social comparison with social media. Something else. I
I mean,
can't
it's
quote
kind
it.
of similar to what they've been saying, like with the how women view themselves, because they would see the people, the women of supermodels, are, size zero,
great
and
point,
they think I
great
have to,
point, great
I have
point,
to be that look like that to be beautiful. It's the same comparison as far
great
as with barbering. If my
great
haircuts
point,
don't look like that, then I'm not a good barber. If my haircuts don't look like that, I'm not. It's the same comparison.
great point. And I'm not going to make no money. I'm not going to be able to get the likes on Facebook. I'm not going to be able to get the likes on Instagram, and nobody's going to look at my stuff and give me credit. And realistically, what builds you up, what gives you the credit is putting into your community, connecting with people, having great communication skills with people, being professional. What is your life skills like? How do you treat? How are your dialogues with your friends and family? How much are you pouring into your community? People look at those things more than that straight lineup.
Yeah, I made a post the other day on my Instagram, and I said, I put haircuts out on Instagram. I like to make content because I enjoy it, but I very rarely have people come in and say, "Yo, I seen your Instagram. It was the best haircut I've ever seen in my life." I want that when I saw that picture, that's why I came here. No, it's usually because I've met people and people have told them about me, or
word of mouth.
word of mouth, or I've done community events and people have booked for me through the community. Very rarely do I have people come in and it's like, "Yo, you have the dopest haircuts on Instagram." It doesn't happen to me often.
How are you influencing the people behind you? What are you doing
I
socially
can't hear you too
impact?
much, Craig.
What are you doing to
There you
influence people behind you? What are you doing to socially impact your community? What are you doing to socially impact the trade? How much do you love your trade? Is it a passion? Where is your desire? And when people see those things come together, I read this quote one time: "When passion and your career comes together, you create a masterpiece."
I feel the same way about that.
Is this your passion? Are you passionate about what you're doing? Do you love what you're doing so much that you want to connect with people and show people, no, this is, I am proud of what I'm doing. I love my job and I can talk about it and be happy about it all day. It makes me happy. It makes my clients happy and it makes my family and my friends happy. Where is your desire? And I think those two words are key words that barbers need to understand. What is your passion and what do you desire?
And I think that's what keep people coming back to be a barber. If your passion or desire not there, I've seen a lot of people leave barbering alone. I don't think their passion was there, or they had the grit to stick it out and things like that.
The desire wasn't there.
Hmm.
Because I mean, we all talk about is what you put in is what you're going to get out. But if you putting something out and you're not passionate about it, why should someone be passionate about paying you for a service that you're not passionate about? If you don't have no desire with it, why should someone be desirable and to come and sit in your chair if you're not showing a desire about your profession?
That's kind of the same thing. The description they use for Christianity is lukewarm Christian. So you're a lukewarm barber. You either hot or you cold. If you're not hot, you cold. Get out. You don't want to be in the middle.
Right.
Nobody wants somebody in the middle.
A sometimey barber.
I
Yeah,
can
sometime part time.
I can have a client come in and we'll have a conversation and they'll ask me to be like, why'd you become a barber? And by the time I ended that conversation, I have them want to become a barber.
But that's real.
Yeah,
That's for real. That's because I have so much love for it, and they can just feel the passion off of me when I speak about it. Like they can just feel it. Like a lot, it's a presence, it's a feeling you can feel when somebody loves something or is passionate about something.
But even like when all three of us talk and we're like, man, I miss coming to the podcast. And we come into the podcast for one common goal. It's to talk about barbering and what we love. But if we miss a day, if we miss, we just, it's something in me, especially me, it's something in me that's like, man, I missed that moment. I missed just that hour right there is great.
and honestly, and rightfully so. Thank that prayers for Mitch and his family. But we missed a day last week. I feel like it's been a month since we've been here. I feel like it's been a while. So
I had to make some time to do for that hour. Dang, man.
But just also just like, man, I get to see Ammi. I get to see Jordan. And I'm like, that's my moment during the week. I know I'm gonna see those brothers every week for sure.
Because they say the people my bad.
Go ahead.
Now I say the people you work with become your family. You spend 1/3 of your day with these people. When you're at the barbershop, you spending, 10 to 6 or 9 to 5 or whatever with the same people every day. Y'all eating with each other. Y'all having casual conversations with each other. Y'all helping each other. The people you be around with for like that much time. That's your home away from home.
So Jay, what inspired you to become a barber? Because were you a barber before you went to college, or you started doing this research, or which one came first? And what inspired you to do that?
Barbering came first. So in my hometown, District Heights, Forestville, we had the barber shop in the mall.
Shout
And
them
I was
out. You
just
remember those guys' names in there? Shout them out.
yeah, Fish, Mike, other Mike,
Oh,
Robbie,
Mike.
Dre. Who else am I missing? Keith.
What's the name of the
Who
shop?
else am I missing? Bernard, Miss Katrina. I remember almost everybody. I was like 13, 14. I started working there. I just came in.
What's the name of the shop?
Cutz Unlimited, Forestville, Maryland.
That's big. Shout out to
Yeah, so I was like 13. I was just looking for a job. I was looking for something. I was looking to get into something. And I used to go up there like every week. I used to get that. I was actually getting my hair cut there since I was like 6 or 7 years old.
right.
And they kept back. Oh yeah, Gary. Who else?
That's like a 15
There's a
man
few-
shop.
It's
other
a big
people.
shop.
Yeah, it was a rather big shop. It was like 9, 10 chairs in there. But I used to get my hair cut there, so I was like 7 or 8. And when I was like 13, 14, I knew how to start getting money or something else. I'll be getting in some trouble or something. I was already going to school, all this other stuff going on. I was around that age where I was starting to, if I would have took made two bad decisions, I would have been not where I'm at today.
Right.
So I went up there. I'm like, hey, can I get a job? I'm wondering if I can work. Blah, blah, blah. I saw the kids up there, getting the money, stuff like that, making good money. And before even that, I was just eyeing it like, yo, I'm looking at how they dress. You know what I mean? I'm looking at when girls coming in, bringing them plates and stuff like that. I'm looking at their lifestyle. I'm looking at so much. I'm like,
You say
how
girls
do I
come and
get a
bring them
part of
plates.
this? So that was my first job. I worked there for like 2 years. I didn't touch one clipper. I just was like an apprentice. I used coming after school 4 or 5 o'clock. I used to clean the first people who leave. I used to clean their blades. Do they
The
do they
mirrors.
do they mirrors and everything. I used to do that to the clothes and stuff like that. And
Just real happy about what you're doing.
yeah, I took pride in what I was doing. The shop owner made sure that every time I did it better. Sometimes it was not necessarily she was hollering, but I thought I was always doing a good job, and she always pushed me to do better. But that also it made me want to step up my quality of work and stuff like that. But I went from there. I wanted to go into the apprentice. There was a trade school. I went to Suitland High School in Suitland, Maryland, and they had what's called VOTEC, vocational technology class, and they had all other type of stuff: cosmetology, barbering, carpentry, all this other stuff. And I wanted to be a barber, but my grades sucked, so I just held on to my what I wanted to do. I tried to figure out what I wanted to do when I was a senior in 2010. I started taking AP psychology, so I went from doing AP psychology. That's the only thing I could do. Went to school for a year. Everything got messed up. It wasn't until 2015 ish I wasn't doing anything in my life. I was working at Ruby Tuesdays, making like $100 a week. It was bad. So my brother, he was trying to figure out some things in his life too. I'm the youngest of four, and my brother was trying to figure things out. He went to a place called Fortis College, where they teach people medical stuff and everything. But he was like, "Yo, I came from looking at this barbering school out New Carrollton. Go check it out." So I'm not doing anything in my life. So I'm like, why not? It's like that was the one other option that I really was feeling. And when I went up there, because I was in school, I did before then. I was in school. I had college debt that I didn't really know how to handle. And they was like, hey, look, what we could do, we could consolidate your loans. You can start tonight. So later at night, I started class, and I did my 9 months. I think I had to do like 1,500 hours. I did them straight every day. I wasn't doing anything else. I was trying to get money. Long story short, someone was like, "Hey man, you get your money in here. Why you doing this? Now and the third." Tried it, didn't work. People got caught up. Should have kept the job, and I did my 9 months, and all I did between I think 2000, I graduated May or June 2014. I went to go get my license. Got my license the first time, thank God. And I've been cutting hair ever since 2014. What was 2015? I think it's 2015. So I've been cutting hair for 8 years straight. I didn't get a W-2 paying job again to about 2018, 19 when I was in college, and I'm realizing, hey, yo, I got on my feet somewhere. I was cutting all through college through 2017, all the way up to the pandemic, and I always kept my license renewed. I always kept my clippers with me and stuff like that. So that's just where
So
I'm
how did
at
the
right now.
connection come in and you knew like I'm gonna put barbering and psychology together? How did that connection come in?
Here's where it came in. So 2017, I was able to get into the illustrious Morgan State University in Bowie State. I say Bowie State, yeah, in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm at Bowie State right now, but I started at Morgan State University, and I think it was my second or third semester. They had an essay contest, and it was like, "What do you want to do when you leave college?" So I'm like, "Shit, I don't know." So I was already cutting hair, and I was looking into the history of barber and stuff like that. I actually already knew it, but they was talking about barber surgeons and stuff like that, right?
Mm,
They was
big.
giving the history about what they was doing and stuff like that, and I was kind of just
Intrigued.
messing around with the idea and I was just doing some research about how some barbershops are bringing in like learning about blood pressure and stuff like that, and doing cardiovascular health and stuff like that. So I'm like, why not mental health? So the idea just came to me. I sent you the paper. That's why
Right.
I started writing about how I was already doing barbering and how I'm gonna do mental health. The idea just meshed so good together. And I just kept running with it since what I came with the idea in 2018. I made my business plan. I'm doing everything working with the SBDC up at Bowie State. I was working with SBDC while I was at Morgan State and stuff like that, just incubating and coming up with this idea about how to make it work and how to make it feasible. So that's where I'm at now. After I get my master's, I want to. By the time I get my master's, I want to at least have my shop open because I know I'm not going to have my license so soon, but I
How
got the idea already and stuff like that. Just it came from a scholarship, and I actually won the scholarship contest from that essay.
okay? How
So
old were you when you went to college? When you went back to school?
I went back at 24.
24 years old.
I think
How
I'm
old are you?
24, 25.
How old are you now? You mind me
Right
asking?
now I'm 30.
30.
Yeah.
Awesome. Was it scary going back to school? 24 years old. Was that nah? It
Mm-mm.
was easy
It,
decision.
it it was difficult because my peer group was already gone. When I came there. It was only one dude I knew from high school who was still there who was leaving. So it was kind of different going there with kids. Like I'm like I went and took a college tour at Morgan State in about 2005, 2004. That was the first college I even laid my eyes on. I don't think if I ever went to that college tour, I wouldn't even care about college. I just would have been a hood rat, and that would be that, cut hair and that's it, or whatever I was doing. But that college tour, shout out to Brother Victorious. He was one of the history teachers who took us to a group. He took us on the male empowerment group up there. It just changed my whole direction where I was going. But I figured that college culture is going to be the same. Like people didn't knock on doors no more, and it was weird because it was like everybody would text and everything now, and the just the kids were different. We were a little bit different. It was kind of like not necessarily a culture shock, but it wasn't necessarily scary. It took some adjustment. It was the first time that I was one of the oldest people in the room. I'm usually I would usually being the
I'm getting
youngest
used to
person
that
in the
now.
room. Yeah, I'm usually like 2, 3, 4 years older than people. Now I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4 years older than people. Everybody looking at me like, "Hey, what should we do?"
But you know the interesting thing that I'm starting to think of, for people who are out there who might be losing their touch or their sense of barbering, I think you need to partner it up with something. You know what I mean? Like how you found your passion, even barbering and technology. You said barbering and psychology. Once you start doing research and putting and seeing how they intersect with each other, it brings an excitement to you. I know for like we've talked about it so much time, Emma, you and I, about being burnt out of this industry, but being an instructor, having the podcast to look forward to, being a barber, all those things add some substance to make you feel good about the industry.
Yeah, and it keeps you fresh, keeps you want to learn, and reminds you that you don't know everything. It reminds you that because somebody asks you a question and you realize, hey, I don't know the answer to that question, and that makes you want to go learn it. Makes you want to figure it out yourself. So there's a lot you can still grow from.
Right. And that's important because just infusing something else, just sprinkling something on top of this industry, it just lights that desire fire inside of you to be like, man, this industry is great. It just ignites that passion that you've always had of why you want to be in this industry. Because you see how it just intersects in so many different things, and it just propels you to be like, man, I'm proud of this. Like how people talk about having their PhD or having their masters or having their doctoral, whatever, in some type of field. I think that's how barbers need to start talking about our industry. Parents like this is great. This is amazing. And the more we talk about it like that and show that there's validation and the income is great, we can change this whole narrative about excuse me, how barbering is, are you just a barber? You know what I mean? Because when you pair it up with something, you see the validation in it. Not saying barbering can't stand by itself.
I think it's because it's a lot about barbering from the outside looking in, like people see, where it's like, you know, imagine coming to a barber shop like 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday or third or like a Wednesday on the off day. You think, oh, they just sitting around doing nothing. They sitting
Right.
around on the phone or
Just
sitting
playing with their
around doing
thumbs.
doing nothing. You know, I think that's a misconception, because if they knew that there was somewhat of a trend,
Right.
Tuesday, Wednesday is really not busy. After between Thursday and Sunday, it's popping.
Oh,
But if you
hot,
come there on the
hot, hot,
down
hot,
days,
hot sauce.
yeah, man. Like people. I think oftentimes people who speak on a lot of things they fully don't have a full understanding about too fast. Because if they knew that people have their days of when they do get their money, like it's not a every day I always get money type thing, unless you really like that. And there are people who is, but like
But
some people, they know
it
they
balances
pattern.
out. It balances. I think in all my years of in the shop cutting, it always balanced out. Even like some, you might have a gap in between, like a Friday where it's slow. But you know what? That Monday or Tuesday was really, it picked up.
And then we have seasons. I
Right.
know between Valentine's Day and Thanksgiving, it's the best time to be cutting, because after Thanksgiving, maybe about Christmas, people won't start thugging it out. Between that time, like we have seasons. We know back to school, we're gonna be busy. You know what I
Rocking.
mean? So like people be on the outside looking in, speaking too quickly on how the economics of a barber or the income of a barber, or saying, oh, that's all you do. Like, you know, I get it for people who's like, I guess, amateurs or starting out, is not
And I'm not
seasoned.
saying you can't just be a barber and just be blessed. You know what I'm saying? But add something else to your resume as well. In any profession. Because I
And
think
everybody should have
yeah,
more than one professional, more than one hustle. I got like 3 or 4.
no doubt. You know what I'm saying?
As me,
And
so
even if you just doing something different, not just barbering, you should kind of infuse something else with it to kind of light that passion and have that desire going and burning.
yeah,
Because you can't get burnt out if you just solely just secular thinking about just one thing.
nobody should be a one trick pony, and the pandemic should tell people that. Like, if you're the bartender, which I am at the time, during the pandemic, I actually had just got my bartender license, just have a full backup. But that showed me that you need to have more than one thing, because that's what saved me during the pandemic.
But
Barbering, you know.
but also too,
So,
just diversifying yourself in different things, it helps you build clientele.
you can
You
say I'm
know,
also a barber, or I'm also whatever I am.
right. It helps you build clientele. And that's one specific way to for sure to build clientele is opening yourself up to trying different things.
Before I was a barber, I was a hustler, and not in a negative way. You have to always be able to open up yourself to opportunities, different ways to make money and things like that. It just so happened for me, the best way I could channel, my ways of being prosperous is through barbering. And it's not only that it's prosperous. I feel like there's a level of giving that you do that money can't buy through barbering, through talking, through advocacy, through just socializing, just being a good person to someone who needs it.
What's some of the biggest challenges that you've seen so far when you tell people that you've connected barbering and your psychology part?
Is it
What
gonna
are
work? That's all. Like, that's all it is, really. Like, I've really got a lot of positive feedback from when I got the idea, but um, it's just that, like people, I don't know. I don't think it's not that people don't believe. Sometimes I come up with these ideas that people just don't readily conceive, and they just don't see it to like. Sometimes I'm a very eccentric thinker. Like I'm very abstract sometimes. So sometimes people just don't see it until it actually happens. Like, oh. So that's kind of like the thing that I got with the barber thing. But everybody always talk. I've received majority positive feedback on the idea. The one thing where I'm at now is bringing to fruition, which I'm actively doing.
so draw a picture for the listeners out there how this your shop is going to work with you barbering and the mental health aspect, the psychology aspect you're going to infuse with it.
So this,
Draw a picture of that for our
so
casual
I
listeners
got
out
a few diagrams. When it comes to the building, it's like how it is in any type of city buildings and stuff, where it's going to be the first floor barber shop. actually, if I could get, let me see. I'm gonna actually give y'all a visual if it pops up on here, because I got building concepts so people can actually see the idea rather than me telling them like, oh, boo. You know what I
Well,
mean?
well, the thing is, most people listen to our podcast, so they're not gonna have a visual. So just talk about it.
All right,
So
so
give them a visual
I
cue
get
by you
I'll
just
give you the
describing
visual.
it through your words.
Yeah, so first floor is I want a 2 unit building. First floor barbershop where all the happenings of barbering, even cosmetology and stuff going on because men have long hair and stuff too. And
How many
they
people
get their
working?
braids and stuff going on.
3 barbers, 4 barbers?
Three. I'm thinking about maybe like six,
Okay.
maybe like six, possibly like probably like 2, 3 beauticians or lock
Locticians?
technicians and stuff like that, and probably have a partition or something like that. And then second floor is going to be probably like 3 or 4 offices and stuff like that, like a fully furnished council center in the area where I want to also have disability accessibility and stuff like that, where it can
Right.
have like people who's like handicapped or disabled and stuff be able to go downstairs, upstairs, because that's a target market that we can't ignore when it comes to barbering or mental health.
For sure.
People come in their wheelchair, stuff like that. They need to get their stuff, done. People with infirmities and stuff like that, and also some of those people deal with mental health issues and stuff like that, where they need someone to talk to sometimes about PTSD, or maybe they have some type of CTE, some type of head injury or something, or just dealing with life and adjustment stuff like that. So that's the other side of it. And what I'm working on is making sure I make it such a way where there's a maybe a private interest and stuff like that, because everybody don't want to be seen or known to go talk to a counselor, not just because of the stigma, but legitimate privacy. People want
Right.
to go talk in private and confide in someone and stuff like that about everybody seeing or know them, or even just dapping them up. Not even just people hearing like the whispers and stuff like that. Some people don't care about that, but some people just want to be able to just move in and out. So I'm trying to figure out different ways to have maybe like a rear entrance or a side entrance or somewhere where people could just move smoothly through there. Because even though I wanted to have some type of things run concurrently and stuff like that, I want them to also have a sense of independence at the same time.
That's big. What do
So
you think, Jordan, when you hear that?
That's a good concept. I feel like it's gonna. Can you hear that? Okay. I feel like that's gonna help out a lot of people, especially what he said is putting in being able to get people that are handicapped and stuff like that. That's really gonna help out a lot because I know that. I mean, it's me working at a shop before. It was kind of hard for people to get in, especially with that had wheelchairs and stuff like that. So I thought that's a dope idea. So
yeah, I think handicap accessibility is very important. I think not a demographic that we ignore, but some people who require a little bit more attention out of all of us.
I mean, you are right. I seen this guy open up a shop. I don't know where it was, but he opened a shop for kids with sensory needs
I saw that
and
too.
and disabilities. So I think it's important because that is a audience that's really um, not really catered to much. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of parents. And I know we did an episode on that, a podcast about kids with sensory needs, and there are a lot of parents who are just ashamed, which they shouldn't be, to go to get their kids service. I mean, it is important. Everybody wants to be groomed and look. That's part of taking care of yourself. Everyone wants to look groomed.
Yeah,
So I mean, if we can find more barbers and more places that will cater to people with disabilities and sensory needs, and just playing out just at a disadvantage.
and the other side of it is that everybody who comes in for a haircut don't need to go see counseling. Everybody who comes for counseling don't necessarily need a haircut.
Right.
But the other side that I want to work on too is being able to I'm currently working on it right now as well, is making some type of kind of therapy out of barber, like an model
Hmm.
actual model where a person sits down and these moments where you either actively listen or giving feedback and things like that, and
Right.
incorporating counseling into the service and things like that, to be able to give a person the quality, trying to infuse both grooming and stuff like that, because you're also dealing with a person's self-esteem and stuff like that too, and working on different aspects and trying to figure out how to approach that and make it something that could be replicated.
I think that's so important and so great because there should be something in the bundle for our communities where we could utilize barbershops more, because I think that's one aspect that's being underutilized as far as how to
heavily.
integrate, and because we offer so much. I mean, we see the mayor, we see the police chief, we see the judge, we see the doctor, the lawyer, we see the carpenter, we see the landscaper, we see everyone in an influx of so many different people coming in there to get a service who is really comfortable at at expressing themselves and telling you what's on their mind. I think we could. There's something that could be done. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm a thinker like you. There's something that could be done where we could infuse something to show that, hey, the barber shop is an intricate part of this community, and let's utilize it more to push our message.
We need to refer to this old adage: "Those who can do,"
Right.
and we should. These people, our fellow barbers who have these great institutions and stuff like that. If you can do, because we need it badly. These little young, these at risk kids and stuff like that. They need attention. They need form of rites of passage. They need to be paired up with decent men to actually teach them some things that they probably don't know and need, that the community need, that, if they don't have time, these youngins are stepping in and stuff like that. They need something to be responsible for, and that could be accomplished through utilizing the barbershop as a type of social institution as well.
Yeah, one of my good friends, Lorenzo Lewis, who started the Confess Project, he has this thing where he's teaching people how to create nonprofit organizations, and I think that's one key thing that a lot of barbers are underutilizing: creating your own nonprofit to help your community, because there's grants and funds out there if you strategically do things right to help you with your idea, how to channel certain things. Because I feel and I think most barbers have the right idea, but they just need a little bit of help to kind of facilitate and help infuse, because most barbers want to give, and a lot of barbers give to their community and give to their surroundings.
You
But
know
now,
something that the barbershop could do for the community? Career counselor. If you take a lot of the people who are unemployed in the community and you pair them up with someone who know how to figure out how to help these people in our communities who either need a job or don't know what to do, because there's a lot of young kids who don't know what direction they're going and stuff like that. If we was able to bridge that gap and make people in our community more industrious and perhaps independent, with these type of skills, carpentry, plumbing, and stuff like that, that could be
you know what?
that's using our institutions to a better degree.
Almost like having like a career service center in the barbershop or
Yeah,
in the school. You know
or
what I mean?
even
So
like a
you can,
job board.
yeah,
Like utilizing the job board a little bit more for, because kids are looking to get money and stuff, like they need, like little kids need to get busy or else they'll find some dumb stuff to do. Trust me, I see it. So these kids would come in. That board could be served as like a word of mouth to be able to get these kids to get involved in something not just recreational but constructive, or even young adults who we fall in hard times, things don't go our own way. We need a platform to exchange opportunities, to receive and give opportunities,
and but
because
that's what the barbershop is. What do you think,
mhm,
Am I?
Yeah, I mean, I do it all the time. I actually have brochures for the trade school. People ask me for, how do I become a barber and, trade school things. I've actually been asked to go speak at their trade school and speak to young students and try to encourage them to, you don't necessarily have to go to college. College is great. If, like Craig says about the NFL, if it's for you, it's for you. College is the same way. If it's for you, it's for you. But there's other
college
options
really
out there
isn't
to
for
make,
everybody, to be honest. That's
do
just what
what?
it is.
You said it's not for everybody.
It's not shoot, trades aren't for everybody. People just need to figure out. That's why the career counseling part is so significant, so people can find out, where, how to get in where I fit in, how to get this money and still be happy, how to be able to
And be
find,
successful too.
exactly, find a job that I like, that I want to work, that's going to pay me money.
Build a blueprint for your life.
Some people
Yeah.
just need that I guess venue is the word, that medium to actually fit, sort that out.
And also to remove the stigma that you can't be successful with a trade. You can very much be successful with a trade or whatever you decided to do, certification or going to college. You can be.
Because the bottom line now is just dividends to help yourself and your family.
Yeah,
And if you get those dividends, you got. I mean, yeah, we got to eat. You got to eat out here, and that's a good analogy. But dividends to kind of help yourself and your family move forward, and that's the name of the game. What do you think, Jay Bar?
Bro, I've been taking in so much. I just think I just went mind blank. Come back to me in a second.
No doubt. It's all good. I mean, people need help. People need help, and I think in our role as barbers, we have a unique position to influence and help. Yeah, and that's what this is for right here. You know what I mean? So even if it's not in our industry, we can point people in the right direction to help themselves.
Yeah, we're not supposed to make everybody in the world barbers. Everybody have their thing, and I think that's just studying psychology and stuff like. I think that's how humans. We've always existed as association. We always figure out different ways to help people get to where they have to go, and where they need to be. And if us as barbers be able to help people go from one place to another, despite what we think, to extend one connection to another, stuff like that. That's how you build ties and stuff like that. We have the potential to be somewhat of a community middleman. This person does this person does that. You go holler at this person, or the person could be in that room right there. You're like, hey, little man, go holler at them, or this the person to do that.
But I like how you said that. We in a unique place to be the community middleman.
I just say we kind of are like the hookup for. I feel like the barbershop is the hookup for if you want to need anything. Something, or I feel like for anything.
The community, that's a great way to put it. The community middleman. I mean, because look at the stuff that we do on a daily basis, just to influence people and help people, and because I'm just happy to be in this industry. I love what I do. I'm passionate about it, and there's a fire that's burning inside of me that just keeps my desire going. And I mean, I love it, and I like it so much I could just scream. I love this industry.
I'm being a barber to the last day I'm here, man. I don't know if I can ever give it up, man. Even if I went to go do something else, I'm always have my clippers well oiled, clean, sanitized.
Where will a pair of clippers take you? I mean, it's taking me right now in so many different places that I'm like, man. I mean, a guy called me today from the news and wanted to sit down and talk about what we're doing in the prison with recidivism. And I'm like, hey, let's do it. So, I mean, this is a wonderful career, and I salute every barber out there, and every new barber who's coming into this industry. I just salute you guys. Yep, that's how I feel. What you guys think? I mean, I know we've been on it for about a long time. I mean, when we in a good podcast, it can just flow and it can just go forever. So
I know we had a lot of good ideas. A lot of what you have going on today. I think that's a great idea, bro.
Thank you.
Just keep doing what you're doing, man, for real. Because I feel like that's really gonna help your environment and community out a lot. So.
Yeah, right now I'm only missing the money. Right now, I'm currently, like I said, I'm currently working with the SBDC to try to get some grants. I'm looking at SBA right now for some grants. I'm looking for investors. I actually talked to a person who's a potential investor the other day. I know I need a certain amount of money. I just need to, once I start getting the building, I got ideas for the buildings. I got a person who do the real estate and stuff like that. Once I get the building, it's over. I know everything I need to get. I know.
It's a wrap.
I have my whole plan. I have my whole idea. Right now for me, it's only a matter of time.
Word. Mr. Ammi, what you thinking?
He took my idea. I ain't gonna lie. I just ain't gone to school. You way far ahead of me. I ain't been to school yet, but I think especially if you could get involved with insurances and be able to charge insurance, and what will be a $50-$60 haircut could turn into $200-$300 haircut. But it's not coming out of their pocket because the insurance would pay for it.
Yeah,
long term, I think that would be an amazing option if you could do that. And that's a game changer. That's next level. So
The only
my
thing is
other
about
objective is to make sure the services I will be able to provide is affordable as well, because everybody don't have it, and I recognize that. You know,
Yeah.
some people who really need the help too are people who's not just homeless, but you know these people walking around the streets. I'm trying to figure out solve how these people's walking around who being homeless is traumatizing. It's people out here who's homeless because of mental health issues and stuff like that. How can we help these people reorient them lives? How do we help them reorient their lives so they could, be better to pick themselves back up?
And
I
if
think,
that's what you're passionate about, then you should definitely look into Craig and Lorenzo with the nonprofit, because they would, companies would bless you and you get grants to do those type of things that you wouldn't have to have to shoulder the financial burden or help people. They'll give you money to help people, and that's
yeah,
probably another option you should look into.
yeah, and then we looking at, and I was thinking about this even before this all this increase in homelessness and stuff like that. How people lives are spinning out of control, and some people just need someone to sit there and talk to and help build on whatever ideas and kind of send them on their own way. So they, a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people are in transition in their lives, and they don't know which way how to go. They don't have no context for where they at, and that's how people get lost, and they end up being like, whatever, I'm gonna just,
Let go.
yeah.
yeah,
It
what it
seems
is.
like people have been pivoting ever since the pandemic, and
Yeah,
some people are just lost.
and a lot of people don't know how to catch their footing. A lot of people tripping out, falling on their face, falling on their butt, falling on the other people, and then they're like falling out of whatever no direction and stuff like that. Let me see if I
Yep,
got some
yep.
left. There we go.
Well, Jay, man, I know as all good things. I mean, this was a great podcast. All good things got to come to an end because we've been rocking for the past hour and a half. But I'm gonna let these brothers say their last words before we get off, and I'm gonna let you say your last words. What do you think of this podcast, Jay? What's your last words, man?
Today was a good podcast, man. It had a lot of good ideas. Like I said, he has a great thing going on. I'm I'm blessings to you. I hope everything goes good for you, and it's good meeting you. Hope to have you on here again sometime.
Thank
It's
you.
nice meeting you, bro.
This is very inspirational. You're one of the first people we had on this podcast, and not only barber, but to add something more to barbering. So you are pushing the ceiling to this. You're pushing from a different direction. There's a lot of people pushing the ceiling, but you're pushing the ceiling up higher than anybody can anticipate, and we can only see how far this can go. So you're a pioneer. You're a trailblazer. You're leading the charge. So we appreciate you coming in here and sharing your perspective. And hopefully in the next couple of years, you'll be on here telling us how it all worked out and how you're a billionaire. So
Thank you.
I mean, for me, I just think that it's important to just partner up with something with your industry. I like how the barbering trade is going. I like how it's transforming. I like how all these researchers, people are doing research, and that's coming up and letting people know, hey, this is, yeah, we coming. Like Dion said, we coming, and our luggage is Louis, and just validating what we have. I mean, I can't validate it more than this podcast and how much I love it, and my desire and my passion for this industry just keeps burning. But I mean, I appreciate you again. I appreciate connecting. We're gonna keep vibing and we're gonna stay in touch like I know we do. We rap, saying a quick here and there, every message every once a week, twice a week, saying, hey, what's up? And we gotta continue and stay doing that. I know you're gonna connect with these brothers right here, Jordan and Ammi. But again, what's your last words?
My last words, I think, is what I said before. Those who can do, I want to say, if you can help someone, do so. If you can help someone, take their lives to the next level and things like that, you should. That's the only way we want to make this world a better place. Holding each other up instead of holding each other back, push each other forward instead of keeping people down and stuff like that. I think it's real necessary right now with how things are, stuff like that. That yeah, we just need each other a little bit more than we think. We just have to move on that.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you again, Jay, for coming on this episode. And hey, again, I salute you, my brother, and we're gonna stay in touch and keep rocking and keep doing the things that you do because hey, it's not being unnoticed, and people and the community need you. Again,
Definitely.
Barber College
We
Success
trying
brought to
to.
you by Craig Charles of Crown Cutz Academy, JC, Johnson City, Tennessee, Bristol, Virginia, and now Proficient Nail Academy, downtown Johnson City, Tennessee. Spreading love is the Tri-City way. That's one way, but spreading love the Crown Cutz way is the only way. Again, shout out for Feed Spot for ranking us in the top 25 podcasts in the country, in barber content, and top 25 podcasts in the world. I mean, we didn't go unnoticed, and we love our fans and our barber community. Hey, and if you have some questions, if you have some feedback, we're always willing and receptive to answer questions. And again, we just keep showing love to the podcast. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell your mother, tell your father. Check us out because we have plenty of content and plenty of information to give to the inspiring barber who's thinking about getting into this industry. Also for the barbers who are in this industry for a while and needs a little bit refresher on things that's going on in this industry. All we want to do is keep spreading love. And that's it. Peace.